What a way to start the season. Hello and welcome to Bubbs Talking Bronx Bombers. Today is Sunday, March 30th, and the New York Yankees have completed their first series of the 2025 season, and they do it by sweeping the Milwaukee Brewers to get to 3-0 to start the year. A 4-2 win on opening day, then a 20-9 victory on Saturday, and earlier today in the series finale, they take down the Brewers 12-3, scoring 36 runs total in this series. What a start to the season for the Yankees. I don't think you could have drawn it up any better. As they open it up, of course, with a sweep, 11 home runs total. Just a phenomenal series. Torpedo bats, everything going right for the Yankees here in the first three games offensively. For those tuning in, thank you so much for joining me. We'll have series recaps, news episodes, all that stuff here throughout the season. A little bit of a rebrand here on the podcast. For those of you that remember, we've been on audio podcast platforms for a while, decided to switch here to YouTube, do some more consistent content now, change the logo, do a little bit of a rebranding. So if you can, appreciate if you can hit the like and subscribe button. Of course, thank you to those of you tuning in on all the different audio podcast platforms where the show has been available. Took a little bit of a break, didn't have a ton of content going out. Wanted to get back into it here, and that's exactly what we are doing. And what a series it was. I mean, right, you go into this season just in general for the Yankees, and we'll recap here all three games, but you go into this season for the Yankees, right? A lot of questions, you're relying on a lot of young talent. There's a lot of unknowns in this lineup, right? You lose Soto in the offseason, and you go into this season, you go into this opening series, really kind of wondering a wide range of feelings on what this team might look like with all these new faces in the lineup, a new look team, and the first test this team passed offensively with flying colors. It was amazing. The bats came alive. It's only 3 games. 162-0 is still alive, right? You don't want to overreact, good or bad, but it was a great start here for the Yankees at the stadium before a day off tomorrow. And we'll get to the 20-9 game. Of course, we'll also get to the 12-3 victory as well. But I want to go in order here. We'll go back here to opening day where things started here for the Yankees. Things opened up with a normal 4-2 victory. Nothing crazy. Bats didn't go crazy in this game, but it was enough to get the job done. Rodon gets the ball here in game 1 on opening day, and he looked good. Just starting from the Carlos Rodon perspective, I thought he pitched well, right? This is a big year for Rodon. This was a very big, just, good start for him to open up the season, build some momentum. Opening day, Yankee Stadium, Garrett Cole down for the year, Luis Gil, of course, down for, a couple months, and then, Clark Schmidt on IL to open up the season. Rodon, Max Fried, all these guys all got to step up and do a bigger role than they were expected to have earlier in the year because of these injuries, Rodon being one of them. And he went out there and pitched well on Thursday, on opening day, to kick things off, right? 7 strikeouts, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned. I thought, he's obviously the Yankees in general in this game handled Jackson Chourio really well. He went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. But all in all, just outside of the Capra home run in the 3rd inning, and even then Terang had the single, he got himself in a little bit of trouble there. But outside of that, it was smooth sailing for Rodon, which is what you want to see, right? He had a solid year last year, but nothing crazy. Still had some of those inconsistencies, but it was good to see him go out there and put together a very good quality, consistent performance. Really, it was. Was mix it up, good mix, kind of 3-pitch mix mainly, mixed in the sinker a little bit more as well. which is something that will be interesting to see how that continues to develop here the rest of the way. But, only 28 sliders, 23 four-seamers, 18 changeups, 11 sinkers. So you saw more sinkers, a little less curveballs, which is something added to the repertoire that you're intrigued to see how the rest of the season goes. But it was pretty smooth sailing and set the Yankees up offensively for success in this one, right? Only 2 walks, 7 Ks. I had the 1 home run, 89 pitches, relatively efficient, going 5 1/3, ended the game walking out of there with a 1.69 ERA. And the bullpen in this one was solid as well. Tim Hill came in 2/3, had, allowed 1 hit, but got out of it. 19 pitches, 14 strikes. Leiter came in. Leiter seems to be picking up right where he left off last year, where you saw him have some big outings in some big spots, getting big outs in the postseason for this Yankee team after kind of struggling a bit after coming over in the regular season. At the deadline, struggled a little bit in the regular season, but came up big in the postseason. Had a really good weekend, had a really good game in this one. 2 Ks over 1 inning, 12 pitches, 9 strikes. Efficient job there. Weaver came in then in the 8th, got the job done. 2 Ks, a walk, also picking up right where he left off. And Devin Williams was meh, right? Opening day, Yankee Stadium, first game in pinstripes, probably some jitters, probably some, nerves against his former team. Wasn't great, command-wise early, struggled, or had a walk, also allowed a hit, did allow a run, ended up locking in 2 strikeouts late there against Chourio and Yelich, which were 2 big outs, right? You go back to the top of the order, and I give a ton of credit there to Devin Williams for that, because the Yankees go into that inning up 4-1. You get the Ortiz single, then the double, and then you get a walk. So first 3 batters get on base. 1 run scores. It's second and third with the 9-hitter coming up, who ends up, of course, hitting the sac fly, rather. So bases loaded, rather. 9-hitter comes up and Terang hits the sac fly. Ortiz scores. Everybody moves up. So then you find yourselves in a second and third situation, 4-2 game, tying run on second, and you go back up to the top of the order. And I thought Devin Williams did a really good job after that. Strikes out Chourio for the 5th time swinging. As a team, Chourio struck out 5 times in this one. And then the biggest one of them all, Christian Yelich comes up, who struck out actually the inning before, had another strikeout here. So really impressive work. Early was ugly for Devin Williams. It was, right? First 3, runners get on, then you get the sac fly. Not what you want out of the 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters. Ideally you put Williams in that spot, 3 runs up, bottom of the order, get out of that. You don't want to see that here consistently. Hopefully this is more of a one-time thing, although you do hear some Brewers fans talk about how he can find himself in those iffy situations where he doesn't look good the first couple batters and then is able to find it and able to work himself out of it. But he does deserve a lot of credit, of course, for the way that ended. Right, 6, 7, 8 get on. You get the sac fly. It's a 4-2 game with the tying run on second. 90 feet away is, of course, the run to make it a 1-run ball game. And you go back to the top of the order. And as much as Chourio was struggling with the 4 strikeouts going into that at bat, and even Yelich, who was hitless on the day with a walk and 2 Ks, he went into that at bat. Still, it's Christian Yelich. It's your top 2 hitters, 2 guys that can do damage at any time. And the way things were going for Devin Williams, honestly, you're sitting there as a Yankee fan thinking, this is really going to happen. Offense plays well. Rodon does good. Set up for the win to start the year 1-0 as a team and for Rodon. Right, walk out of there with a nice victory. Walk out of there 1-0 into the off day on Friday. And it looked murky, but they got out of it with those 2 Ks. So you didn't see Williams the rest of the weekend. 36 pitches, lots of pitches, obviously. Opening day early in the season, no real need to put him in anyway. The rest of the weekend when you beat him by a combined score of 32-12 over the next 2 afternoons on Saturday and an earlier today. So that was the pitching aspect for the Yankees. I thought Tim Hill had a really good weekend. We'll get into him here more as well in a second because I thought he had another good day today for this Yankee team coming out of the bullpen. Continues to be disgusting as a really important lefty arm for this team to utilize out of the pen. Thought he did a good job. Again, thought Rodon was solid here. All things from a pitching perspective. And again, I just thought it was a really clean day for Rodon, right? I know that fifth inning didn't quite end it probably the way he wished. Maybe wished, obviously wishes to get out of that. You had the walk. Then you had, he gets out. They bring in Hill to face Frelick. And then that was the end of Rodon, but still a good day. Getting to the sixth, 89 pitches, relatively efficient. Still a good day for him. Against Freddie Peralta, of course, on the other side, who also pitched relatively well. Rodon was just better, and the Yankees offense, did just enough. As for the offense for the Yankees, right, the big topic, this offseason, spring training more specifically, is who's going to be the leadoff? Who's going to be, the leadoff hitter for this Yankee team? Feels like a question that's been asked a lot over the last couple of years. And it was Austin Wells. And first catcher in Yankees history to hit leadoff, and goes out there, makes more history, hits a leadoff home run in his first at-bat of the game, and that just set the tempo. That was awesome to see. First bat of the game, first at-bat of the season. Really nice to see Wells get off to a good start, not just in this game, but just the series in general, right? This is a guy that, has, similar to a lot of these other young guys, right? You look at this Yankee lineup, you're relying on a lot of young guys to step up in a big way. Wells is one of those guys. Had a good year last year, showed some good moments. This year, full-time starter, leadoff hitter. He needs to step up, play a big role. Lefty, power, catcher. Exciting option for this Yankee team, not only for this year, but moving forward, right? This stadium fits his bat. He's improved as a catcher defensively. All things that give you optimism for the future. Comes into this as a leadoff, and he hits a home run. That's a perfect start. You couldn't have drawn it up any better. That was the only scoring in the first. You then go on to the second, and 2 outs in the second. Jazz strikes out. Dominguez grounds out. One of 2 ground outs on the day for Dominguez. He grounds out. Volpe then steps up and hits a home run in his first at bat. So first 2 innings, you get 2 big home runs from 2 young players. That was awesome. 2 young pieces that need to step up in a big way this year. And on opening day, first 2 innings, first 2 runs, first 2 home runs of the 2025 season is off the bats of Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe. So that was good to see. Obviously, the Brewers ended up responding, Copper with the homer in the third. And then in the 7th, much-needed insurance runs, especially looking back on it. You start the inning with the walk to Ben Rice. Good AB, works a walk. Oswaldo then hits a double. So you have first and second. Wells pops out. And then Judge steps up, hits a hard grounder off the third base bag. So you get some luck. Turns into a double. And Ben Rice scores. Oswaldo moves to third. So it's second and third now with 1 out. Bellinger steps up. Few sac flies this weekend. This was the first one. He flies out to right. And Oswaldo scores. Goldschmidt ended up lining out to end the inning. But again, the Yankees this weekend, right? A lot of was talked about the home runs. Of course, that was clearly a big deal, right? 9 home runs, franchise record, all this stuff. But the Yankees also had moments this weekend where they did other things very well. They've been able to steal bases, go set, first to third, take advantage of wild pitches, pass balls. They did that today, right? Even in this game, the 7th inning. No, it wasn't necessarily power. It was a hard ground ball that was popped off the bag, and then it was a sac fly. That's what got it done. So the Yankees also this weekend did a good job of, not only stealing bases, but, moving around, scoring, stuff like that. But also just that kind of team approach of step up, get on base, next guy, move him over. Sack fly, like good at-bats in the right spot, doing the right thing, moving runners over, all those different things. Like those are the little things that this Yankee team needs to do more of. And this weekend, they were doing some of those things. And we saw that there in the 7th inning. It wasn't like a crazy, oh my God, 2 solo home runs, whatever. No, it was a lot of little things here. A walk by Ben Rice, gets on base. Anytime you can get on, leadoff hitter can get on base, walk, whatever, base hit, whatever. Great. Boom, you're on base. Oswaldo comes up. You want to flip it back to the top of the order. He does just that with the single. And you put yourself in a situation, top of the order coming up, with first and second on base, nobody out, and the Yankees were able to do damage. Bottom of the order, flipping it back up to the top. That was good to see there in the 7th. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Devin Williams was able to hold it down there in the 9th, just barely. So that was opening day, 4-2 victory. Yankees ended the day 4 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. Milwaukee ended the day 2 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. So all in all, strong day, good, solid win for the Yankees on opening day. But that was, little did we know, just the appetizer. I don't even know if you want to call it the appetizer because you had the day off in between. Saturday was unbelievable. In all my years being a Yankee fan, I have to admit, Saturday was probably one of the most fun, even just as a sports fan in general. Saturday was probably some of the most fun I've ever had as a sports fan in my life. Saturday afternoon was awesome. I mean, it was awesome. It was history. Let's just say that. We witnessed history on game number 2 of the season. I think that perfectly encapsulates kind of what took place this weekend for this Yankee team. And you go into this game, nasty Nestor on the mound, not so nasty anymore, but Nestor on the mound against this Yankee team, his former team, of course, gets dealt in the offseason. And the Yankees go out there and they not only hit 3 home runs to open up this game, right? Back to back to back. But they also they not only go with 3 home runs back to back to back, but 3 home runs on 3 pitches. Like, that's just crazy. 3 home runs on 3 pitches. Goldschmidt steps up, right? He leading off against the lefty and Nestor. We know Boone was going to do that. Boone talked about that, right? Wells against, righties, and then Goldschmidt against the lefties, and Wells, really kind of batting in that 6th spot, which is what he was in this game. And then also today, he was in the 6th spot as well. And the reason they threw Goldschmidt out there today in the leadoff spot, well, not only did he play well on Saturday, but Savali's splits were more lefty. He has success, even though he's a righty, he has more of those lefty splits. He pitches well against lefties as opposed to righties. So that's why you saw Goldschmidt there leading off. But right now, through 3 games, you can't go wrong. And again, it's only 3 games. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played. But this weekend, you couldn't go wrong with either Goldschmidt or Wells leading off, really. Both obviously had, leadoff home runs. And even today, Goldschmidt, had a 2 for 5 day with 3 hits and an RBI. So he also had a strong day today. But in this game, 20-9, you go out there, 3 pitches, 3 home runs. Goldschmidt, 413 feet to left center. Bellinger, 451 to right center. Believe the longest distance-wise of his career. And then Judge, 468 to left. Austin Wells then steps up 2 batters later and homers to left. 4-0 out of the 1st inning. Crazy. 4-0 out of the 1st. You then move to the bottom of the 2nd, and Volpe, back-to-back games, back-to-back home runs. He hits a homer. Judge and Jazz score a 3-run shot for Volpe. You look up, and it's 7-3 Yankees going into the third. And then the next inning, Bellinger kind of hits a light infield single, reaches Goldschmidt to second, Grisham rather moves to third. Dominguez scores. Then Judge steps up, hits another home run in his second at-bat of the game. Grisham scores, Goldschmidt scores, Bellinger scores. It's a grand slam. Judge with the grand slam makes it 12-3. And then Jazz 13-3 with a solo shot to right center. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. So that's 5 RBIs at that point for Judge. He then goes another home run in the bottom of the fourth to make it 16-4. 2-run shot. So Judge, solo shot, grand slam, 2-run shot. He finished the day 4 for 6, 8 RBIs, 3 home runs, 4 runs scored. Almost had a 4th home run in 2 occasions. Late in the game, he also almost had one against Jake Bauers, who came in again today. That's when you know it's a bad weekend for the Milwaukee Brewers, when Bauers comes in back-to-back days as a position player to pitch. But you get the Judge grand slam in the third. You then get the Judge 3-run shot in the fourth, or the 2-run shot, and you get the Judge solo shot. So he goes first, third, fourth. He hits 3 straight home runs. One of those being a grand slam. It was something, again, some of the most fun you've ever had. Bellinger also had a sac fly in that inning as well. So 16-4. You then get to the bottom of the 6th. Bellinger then singles. Judge doubles. Bellinger scores. So that's another RBI for Judge. His 8th at that point of the day. Almost a home run just by the short porch by Judge. And then Peraza comes in late for Pablo Reyes and homers. On the 4th pitch he sees. Volpe scores. It's a 2-run shot. So Peraza sees his first action of the season, and he makes this game a 20 bomb. So unbelievable day for the offense. A historic day for the Yankees offense. 9 home runs as a team. Judge with 8 RBIs. Grand slam, of course, the big highlight of the day. 3 home runs as a whole. And I'll also throw this out there as well, because, again, we talk about the home runs a lot, and we'll get to the pitching here in a second, but it's, again, the small things, right? You had the Cody Bellinger sac fly. Bellinger also had the singles. He finished the day 3 for 5, 4 RBIs and a homer. The big home runs, all those things, those are all great, but it's also some of these other smaller things, right? It's the little base hits, but it's also something else that I wanted to bring up. The Yankees in 2 strike counts on Saturday. 21 times they found themselves in 2 strike counts. 6 hits, 3 home runs. That's the slash line of 353, 476, 941. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Some of the underlying things, some of the little things that you've taken away so far from these first 3 games are really, really impressive. The home runs, all that stuff, the headline stuff, that's all great. But some of these other small things, right? The base running, just the base hits, the good quality contact. Goldschmidt today as well. Protecting 2 strikes, shortening his swing, and taking it to right field to drive in a run on a single. Like, that was awesome. He drove in Ben Rice. Like, that was awesome. Today, right, you had the single, you had another single, you had another single, then you had the sac fly by Bellinger. Like, good team hitting, base hit, moving runners over, all those things. The 2-strike hitting on Saturday was a big deal as well. So many things were going well this weekend for the Yankees. A lot of things have to go well in order to hit, 20 runs in a game. So the Yankees finished the day 16 hits, 20 runs, 9 home runs. Just a phenomenal day, a historic day out at Yankee Stadium. And you just look at Judge's numbers already this year. I guess I maybe even want to wait because we still have today's game to break down, which saw Judge hit a home run in the first 2-run shot that scored Goldschmidt after he singled in his first at-bat. But Saturday was unbelievable. Unbelievable. 20 runs in game 2 of the season. Not something you see very often. Now, pitching-wise for the Yankees, I thought Fried and Stroman kind of two similar days, right? Both go 4 2/3. Both just are ineligible of picking up the win. Fried, I thought, was a little bit more the product of the defense behind him. The one negative you want to take from this game, right? It's hard to find a lot of negatives in a 20-9 baseball game. But unless if you're, of course, the losing team, then you can think of a lot. But for the Yankees, the fielding was a problem. This game was awful fielding, awful. And I thought the fielding this weekend, for the most part, was solid. Like, I thought today, especially, Volpe had that really nice snag where he had to kind of readjust himself at the last second and picks it up backhand while he's falling backwards on the ground. I thought Jazz made a couple nice plays today. I thought overall today, defensively, they were good. Bellinger had the really nice play in the first inning on the long fly ball by Jackson Chourio, where it kind of kept carrying. Bellinger, cold today, was only 44 degrees, overcast, not a great day for baseball. A massive drop-off in weather from yesterday, where it was 80 degrees sunny. It felt like a May afternoon in March. It really did. Watching that game, obviously sitting out there too, but for the fielding wise, like I thought today fielding was good. Bellinger had that nice play, of course. You had some nice plays in the infield, but Saturday was rough. Pablo Reyes was awful. He was terrible. 2 errors by him. Jazz did have an error, Volpe, Fried. I don't know if some of it was just right 29 baseball game. It was a blowout. You lose some focus at that point, but the errors were not good, and those have to clean up. 5 errors in one game is bad. This easily could have been a 20-3, 20-4 game, and I think that was some of Fried's reason why he couldn't go deep. Like, he didn't pitch necessarily bad. Was it his best stuff? No. I mean, he allowed 7 hits, 6 runs, but only 2 of them were earned. Those errors behind him don't happen. He's not at 94 pitches, with 1 out left to go in the 5th. So, I thought Fried was okay. I thought he looked fine. It wasn't great. He wasn't elite stuff, of course. I think he would have went deeper, and I think his line would look a lot more better if it wasn't for the errors behind him that kept innings going and increased the pitch count where, he had 94 pitches, of course, through just 4 2/3. So I think defense behind him improves, and you're probably talking about a game where he's in line for the win, picks up more than 5 innings and goes out there and the line looks a lot better. But for game 1, I think it was more so just the defense from Fried's perspective. And I'd say the same thing too with Stroman. Not the defense, but Stroman today wasn't very crisp. Like, I thought Fried was actually more crisp than Stroman. I thought Stroman today was, especially when he got the 2 strikes today. Lost some batters, tried to put some batters away, tried to, get some strikeouts. That's not who he is. He's a contact pitcher. And today, felt like it was going a little bit too much for the strikeouts as opposed to trying to impose and do some of that weak contact. But Fried, 7 hits, 4 2/3, 6 runs, only 2 earned. A lot more product of his defense, in my opinion. Gomez came out. He actually picked up the win. Yoendrys Gomez. So solid day for him. Brent Hedrick as well. And then Carrasco came in. He'll start. He's going to start some games for the Yankees. But he came in and didn't look very good. Final 2 innings, allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, had a K, 40 pitches over 2. So not great for him. We'll see how Carrasco looks here moving forward. But, he'll get the ball on Thursday. Yankees want to get him in. Of course, Boone wanted to get him in. Saturday. It was a Saturday game. Doesn't pitch till Thursday. Get him some work. They got another day off tomorrow. So we'll see what Carrasco looks like in the start, but didn't look good there. But all in all, it was a great day. If you had one complaint, it would be defensively, they were not very good. But 20 runs, I mean, how can you not walk away with a huge smile on your face? And obviously just a lot of excitement for, what took place. History on day, in game number 2. Awesome stuff. So that was Saturday. Moving on here to Sunday, series finale. It's kind of funny. This game starts, first inning, Brewers score. You get the single to start things out. You then get a walk and another single, which scored Terang Frelick with the RBI single in the first. He ends up, Stroman ends up striking out Jake Bauers. So walks out of the inning. Could have been out of there much easier. He lost Contreras, lost some batters, had a lot of guys today on 2 strike counts, couldn't quite put them, away, only 3 Ks. Again, not the type of pitcher Stroman is, leaving a lot of stuff outside. His stuff wasn't very, very sharp. But again, he wasn't awful. But you go into this game and thinking, what can the Yankees do as an encore? And they go out and, you're down 1-0 after the top of the first. You're thinking, okay, this is going to be a, Stroman's got to lock in a little bit. How's the offense going to look? You go out there in the first, Goldschmidt singles, Bellinger then flies out, and then Judge comes up and hits a homer. So it's just unbelievable. And I'll bring up Judge's numbers now. It's unbelievable what this guy does on a day in and day out basis. He is now 6 for 11 on the season, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 545, 643, 1.818 slugging, and a 2.461 OPS. I don't care if it's 3 games into the season. Just looking at those numbers, an OPS over 2,000 and a slugging over 1,000, a slugging just 200 points, just about under 200 points away from 2,000 slugging is just crazy. It's crazy. I don't care if it's 3 games in. Just looking at those numbers are wild. Completely wild. Crazy. 4 home runs through 3 games. You watch Judge and how locked in he is right now. 70 home runs. I'm obviously joking. I don't, 70 home runs probably won't happen. But is it crazy this guy could chase 62 again with the way he's playing right now? No. Again, it's only 3 games, but 4 home runs in 3 games, 3 in 1 game on Saturday. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what he continues to do. One of the greatest righty hitters. Forget in Yankee history. Forget right now. You look at MLB history and you look at where Judge is. Statistically, in MLB history, he's one of the great righty hitters to ever play the game. He is. That's not hyperbole. That is facts. Look at some of the numbers. The Yes Network today had a stat. I forget exactly what it was, but Judge is 5th all time. And and I forget which stat it was. I think it was something involving OPS plus, whatever. But it was 5th all time in this stat. Maybe it was slug. It might have been slugging. And the other guys were, I think, Babe Ruth, Ted Williams. He's already in that category of names. It's crazy. So he homers to start the game. You then move into the second. Yankees up 2-1. Stroman bounces back nicely. Really nice bounce back inning there for Stroman, right? You let up the run in the first, 2 hits. You leave 2 runners on with the K against Bauers. So, could have been a little worse, but you get out of that inning. Really good bounce back inning for Stroman, where he gets Mitchell to look. He gets Ortiz to fly out, and it gets done, ground out to Jazz. Nice play by Jazz, I thought, on a harder ground ball. So really nice bounce back for Stroman after a bumpy first. And then bottom of the second, you get a Ben Rice homer with 2 outs. He takes one to left field. Yankees go up 2-1, or 3-1 rather. Another clean inning for Stroman. So after rough first, Stroman goes 6 up, 6 down the next 2 innings. And then you go to the third, and the power continues to come through. The torpedo bat comes through for Jazz Chisholm. Judge works the walk. Jazz steps up there, hits a home run. And I got to give a ton of credit to Jazz. What a weekend it was for Jazz. What a day it was for Jazz. He had another homer in the 7th, which we'll get to. But not only is Jazz hitting the ball right now, but his ability to hit behind Judge and be a threat right now behind Judge is huge. And if that can continue, that is massive for this Yankee team moving forward. Massive on so many levels. No, Jazz is not going to hit 417 the rest of the season. with a 500 on base percentage and a 1.667 OPS. But for him to go out there and be a threat like he's been so far through 3 games behind Judge is huge. Is huge. Especially in the position that he was put in today. Judge gets to a 3-0 count. They intentionally walk him. And Jazz steps up and hits a home run. That's massive. That's massive. Anytime you can make it a little tougher for teams to pitch around Judge, if they know there's a legitimate threat behind him, it opens the whole lineup up for this Yankee team. The sky's the limit, honestly, if this can continue. So, excellent start for Jazz. And no, the team's not going to pitch around Judge or pitch to Judge because they have to pitch around Jazz or because Jazz is behind him. No, they're not going to do that. But if Judge does get walked or teams pitch around him, having somebody behind him that can step up and make you pay for it, which you saw firsthand today, they intentionally walked him. Next bat, Jazz hits a home run. That's huge. That's huge for this team. So you get that in the third. Stroman then struggled a bit in the fourth. He lets up a home run to Jake Bauers, gets porched by Bauers. Of course, the former Yankee. Starts that inning, Contreras with the single. Bauers then comes up, a batter later and hits the home run. So that was pretty much it for Stroman. He then came in into the fifth. Couldn't quite finish it. Had 2 outs. Had Churio close. Churio ended up singling. They ended up bringing him Tim Hill after that, who did really good job. Faced 4 batters today, 1 1/3, and struck out 3 of them. Struck out Churio or Yelich rather to get out of the fifth with a runner on to clean up for Stroman. Got Contreras to line out, then Frelick and Bauers. He struck both those guys out. So really clean day for Tim Hill, and so far a very good start for the lefty out of this pen. So you then move to the bottom of the 6th, and really strong inning as well for the Yankees. They get set up by a Judge walk. Jazz then singles. You get Volpe flies out. Wells grounds out. You get the wild pitch then. Apologize. I'm looking at my scorebook here. Just apologize for that. I'm looking at my scorebook, and I'm trying to figure out where exactly I got lost. I was looking at the 6th inning. So apologize for that. So you get to the 6th, rather. Judge with the walk, Jazz with the single. Again, another one of those situations where Judge walks, Jazz comes up, gets on base. All of a sudden, boom, you're first and second, nobody out. Volpe then flies out. Both runners move over. So you get yourself in a second and third situation. And this is where the Yankees don't usually do this. But you go first to third, or you get the fly out, you move around. You go second, third, boom, Judge. Then you get a wild pitch. He scores. Something the Yankees don't typically capitalize on, but good base running, heads up play. He scores. Jazz goes to third. Wells grounds out, but then Jazz scores on the play. It was a slow roller to first. Jazz goes home. He scores. So excellent base running. Again, small ball. You have a runner on first and second, and there was not a ball that fell out of the infield. And the Yankees were still able, to get 2 runs because he had the fly out by Volpe. Both runners move over. Wild pitch, then a ground out to first. 2 runners score. So I talked about it a lot, right? The power was big, but those other little ways to score runs is huge as well for this Yankee team. So that was the 6th. Little small ball, taking advantage of Milwaukee's mistakes, the wild pitch, all that stuff. They get another 2 runs across. Another important inning, too, just because at that point, you're looking at it going into that inning. It was a 5-3 game, still a baseball game, still a game where you're thinking, okay, bullpen's pretty warmed up. Use some of your high leverage guys. Leiter then comes in the next inning, does a really good job, gets Mitchell to strike out looking, Ortiz to fly out, and then Dunn to strike out before the 8th when Cruz came in. And the bottom of the 7th was huge for the Yankees. It was kind of similar to, I guess, the couple explosion innings they had. The first inning, there was multiple innings on Saturday where they took off, but 5 runs in this inning. You start with the single by Ben Rice. Overall, strong day for him. He goes 2 for 4 with the home run. Also had the walk the other day. Good at bat. Rice, I think, has looked pretty comfortable so far. You then get Oswaldo with the single. Again, right? Opening day, we talked about it. Going back to it, that 7th inning. How did that start? It started with Ben Rice and Oswaldo getting on. Rice walked, Oswaldo singled on opening day in the 7th. Fast forward Sunday, today, and that 7th inning where you're up only 2 runs, get a little bit more insurance. How does it start? It starts by the bottom of the order, handing it back over to the top. Rice with a single, Oswaldo with a single. That's huge for this Yankee team. You then get Goldie, who works a really nice at-bat, punches the ball into right field. Good 2-strike approach. Rice moves Rice scores, rather. Oswaldo moves to third. Bellinger, sac fly, Oswaldo scores. So single scores a run, sac fly scores a run. Little small ball, getting the job done. Judge then walks and Jazz homers. That was huge. You get the 3-run homer by Jazz. Another example. Second time in the game today where Judge walked. First one was intentional. Second one was actual walk. Missed them low to walk him. Jazz made them pay. That is huge for this Yankee team if that can continue. Jazz even earlier in the game when Judge walked, because after the home run, they walked Judge 3 times. How did Jazz do in the 3 times Judge was walked? What did Jazz do in those 3 at-bats? A home run, a single, and a home run. And all 3 times, even the single, he went around to score. Finishes the day 3 for 4, 5 RBIs. Hitting behind Judge, which is massive on many levels. Huge. You need a guy behind him that's going to be able to step up, going to be able to hit. And so far, Jazz has been able to do that. So that was the 5 runs, and at that point, it was over, right? You get it to a 12-run game. Cruz came in, pitched a scoreless 8th, and then Yarbrough came in for his Yankee debut. Just acquired him, of course, a couple days ago after a leadoff single by Frelick. He got the job done, sending Bowers, Mitchell, and Ortiz down in that order. Had a strikeout as well. So all in all, Yankees bullpen, really good opening weekend. Yankees offense, really good opening weekend. And overall, I thought the starting pitching was solid, right? Rodon obviously had the best start. I thought Fried would have been a lot better if the defense behind helped him out. The pitch count being inflated, it was tough for him to get into a rhythm with all those errors and men on base. I think it was more of defense plays better. Fried, statistically, in his line, his day just looks better. I thought Stroman didn't have his best stuff today, but gave you 4 2/3, was just 1 out away from, qualifying for the win. Hopefully can have a little bit stronger of a performance next time out. But look, when you score 36 runs, you take the pressure off your pitching. So that's good. I think the MVP of this series, I think you could, throw a couple out there. I always do. Obviously, top performers. Judge, of course, Jazz. I thought Goldschmidt had a good series. Liked what I saw from Bellinger, even today, right? Doesn't get on, 0 for 3 day, but had the sac fly. He came up in some big spots. You just look at some of these numbers here. Bellinger, 400. Goldie, 417. Jazz, 417. Judge, 545. As a team so far. As a team here, you look at these numbers, they're crazy. These numbers offensively, with the home runs and everything like that, right? You go into today, 11 home runs. There was another stat, right? Most home runs for the first 3 games. 2019 Dodgers are on there. Jets top, the Yankees rather top them. Just a phenomenal opening weekend. About as perfect of a weekend as you could have drawn up if you're a New York Yankee fan. 36 runs, 3 wins, most important. So that's Yankees Brewers. Open it up with the series sweep. Day off tomorrow. And then the grind really begins, right? Opening weekend, festivities, all that stuff. Cool. Okay. Day off tomorrow. And now the grind begins because Tuesday starts up 9 straight days of games, 3 against Arizona, 3 in Pittsburgh, 3 in Detroit. So that'll be the first road trip of the season. They'll open up against Arizona at home with Will Warren on the mound. He'll face Corbin Burns. This is going to be a really good test. I'm looking forward to this Diamondbacks series here early in the season just because of the fact that it's going to be a really good test in my eyes to see how this lineup lines up against Diamondbacks. You can make the case 3 best starters. You'll get Burns on Tuesday versus Will Warren. Wednesday will be Carlos Rodon versus Zach Gallion. And then Thursday will be Carlos Carrasco in his Yankees starting debut against Morel Kelly. Diamondbacks come into this series 2-2. They split with Chicago. Yankees, of course, 3-0. But 3 really good pitchers the Yankees are facing. Zach Gallion also coming off a little bit of a rough start. He'll look to bounce back. Yankees roll Warren, Rodon, Carrasco out there. So we'll see how that all plays out, but a very good test here for this Yankees offense. So that'll do it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Your thoughts on the Yankees, this series, this weekend, all that good stuff. Obviously, really impressive weekend and a very successful weekend, going 3-0. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Talk to you all soon. We'll be back after the Diamondback series, recapping it all. And until next time, let's go Yankees.